As of late, I found myself spending my, I don't want to say free time, but let's just say free mental energy listening to true crime documentaries. And these guys know what they're doing. Just the way that they break down all of like the body cam footage, and they've got the lore, and then they cut to the investigation and the like the interview process. And then some of these guys think that as soon as the interviewer leaves the room, that they can just say whatever the hell they want, and then they start doing their own like individual confession while the camera's still recording. They got no idea. It's great. I mean, it's probably terrible. It's like desensitizing my mind to. Some of these are freaking violent. It's nuts. But I'd say the real true crime is the fact that there's people out there that have never even experienced an arm day. And here's my logic. Here's my approach. Because when I'm thinking of a split, everybody's hyping up push-pull legs, and then Arnold, which is, actually, that one does have an arm day, because that's push-pull legs, and then push-pull legs, or what is it backwards? Would it be legs, push-pull? Because I feel like the Arnold split is legs, chest, and back, arms. So you wouldn't do push-pull legs and then immediately do legs again. So I guess the PPL X Arnold, I'd say, is actually backwards. And it should be LPP Arnold. Legs, push-pull, legs, chest, back, arms. Maybe, yeah, something like that. So I guess if you do that, you do have an arm day, and you appreciate it. But everybody else who's only ever been exposed to push days, pull days, I think you're missing out. I'm not so much motivated by the idea of like working two antagonist muscle groups at the same time, because there's any magic with that combination. That was kind of the logic of even doing chest and back in the same day, was as your chest is working in this one direction, every time you do a back movement it works in the other, and then it's got this like synergistic pump effect, alignment of the stars. And I'm not so convinced. But with arms, even though they are antagonist muscle groups, right? Your biceps bending your arm, your triceps straightening it. I think there's a lot to be gained. I think there really is a lot to be gained from one specific arm day. And not even just because an arm pump is cool, but also it kind of gives you I guess this depends on what your split is, but push-pull legs is a very evenly distributed breakdown of your body into thirds, right? Because, if I'm thinking shoulders, chest, triceps, that's a substantial amount of muscle. One big one and two smaller ones. Legs, hams, quads, those are two big ones. And then back, your entire back, lats, mid-traps, maybe you're doing rear delts and biceps. So lats huge, and then the rest, relatively smaller muscle groups. So I think fundamentally that's solid. But what sort of changes in my head is, at least for me, when I'm doing legs, chest, back, arms, sporadic rest days when necessary, occasional shoulder and forearm training, usually in tandem with a rest day. But legs is huge. But even then, I kind of split it up where I'll do a hamstring day and then a quad day. So actually, legs is, kind of probably the same as chest and back. Back definitely has become one of my more intense lifts because I'm doing a little more volume. Because instead of treating back as back, now I'm thinking lats, mid-back, separating the two and treating them individually. So, doing a full lat workout and then a full upper mid-back workout. So my back days are a little heftier than my chest days. And then arms, relatively smaller day. If we could somehow quantify the amount of fatigue and damage that's done by an arm day versus by a full leg day. So, maybe this calculation is done with, I don't even know, what would it be? Like your, what's the there's I think it's your liver enzyme count where that's actually artificially elevated from working out. So if you ever get your blood tested, which you should, right? Talk to your There's a lot of, it depends. This kind of sucks. Sometimes people's general practitioner or just their family doctor won't give you a blood test and won't give you all your hormone levels and your lipids and whatever, because they're going to say, oh, you're 18, bro, you're fine. You should definitely try to push for them to pull that, just so you know. But some of those enzymes get elevated just from working out. So if you ever got your blood tested and you saw your lipid, or not your lipid, but your liver enzymes, and you're like, holy crap, higher than normal, but you also just did a crazy chest day the day prior, don't sweat it. But yeah, if you kind of somehow were able to quantify the net damage to your body as a system from an arm day versus a leg day, or versus a big back day or a chest day, the arm day is a little more chill. The arm day isn't so wild. So what that tells me is I can kind of, let's just say, maximize some net recovery on an arm day because it's a relatively smaller day, So my leg days are decently big. My back days are decently big. My chest days are probably my shortest day because it's just one muscle group. And then my arm day, even though it's two, they are smaller, so it kind of balances out. So I think I've got a good sort of breakdown of okay, a more intense day and then kind of a less intense day, back and forth. So having an arm day in the mix, it's nice. You're not leaving arms absolutely exhausted, and sometimes it's good to have a workout like that. An arm day is just solid, but beyond that, just the enjoyment factor of seeing yourself fully pumped in your arms, it's something you got to see to believe, because if you're die-hard push-pull legs, screw an arm day, it's like taste the rainbow. You'll see what happens. But I think nothing else to say, so let's just go get arms started. All right, let's do buys first. I haven't started with preachers maybe ever, so not too heavy, especially because it's the first movement, but heavy enough that it's a good starter. All right. Yeah. Okay. Do that. Okay. Oh. That might have been a little bit on the heavier side. But let's move on. Just two of those and now I'll pick a new movement. Yeah. Oh shit. All right, one more. Okay. All right, 1 second. Okay. Oh goodness. Yeah, this machine is freaking OG. You know, I've been going to this gym for, I mean, minimum 6 years. Not like consistently because, you know, I'm always moving back and forth to school, or at least I used to be. But out of everything, this is up there as a favorite bicep machine. Just, it's more of a constant tension, you know, so instead of just a dumbbell curl, which you can hold forever, right? You can hold this position for as long as your grip will hold on. You can't hold up here, so it gets heavier throughout the range of motion. Whereas this one's more like just constant tension the whole way through. So, just a different strength curve to change it up. Let me get a better TikTok edit going. And then this is a machine that's very, let's just say very stackable. Let's put it that way. Okay. All right. I think I overestimated my strength. Let's drop it to 130 instead of 190. Do one more light squeezing and go from there. Okay. All right. Let's pick a finisher and start tries. All right. Let's go nuts with the 65s, and I think that'll be all. I had to use the lost and found straps because I left my leather ones in the Sam gym. Oh, that's way too fucking heavy. Let's go to the freaking 50s, or the 40s, I mean. Oh, there we go. Okay. Holy shit. Okay. All right, let's grab a freaking rope. All right, instead of the rope set up as such, and then grab one individual cable for both arms. So you're doing that same rope action of pushing down and out, but just feels a little different with two cables. Holy shit. Alright, yeah. Actually, probably 2 more of those. I can like manually flex my long head, which is what I want to feel in a squeezing movement like this. There we go. Alright. So, I don't know. It's kind of tricky because I'm normally with a lot of movements, proper posture means pulling your shoulders back as far as you can. But sometimes with the rope extensions, or these cable extensions, I feel like I can flex my tricep harder by rolling my shoulders forward a little and like keeping my rear delts completely out of it. So, maybe just try half the weight you're normally working with, adjust your shoulders around to see what you feel the most. Because, now's not the time to get into this, but I'll see some comments where it's like, and this isn't just like a me critique, I'm just saying in general, and it's like, well, you shouldn't do more than one type of movement. Like if you're doing one push down style movement, like a rope extension, you shouldn't do another rope extension because you've already hit your triceps in that way. And, to that I would say, well, is there not a reason for progressively doing sets in succession to add up to a complete workout? Like if I only did this cable, I think I'd have a crazy tricep pump at the end of it, and I do think it would be stimulating. So don't fall for some kind of arbitrary rule that like triceps need 4 movements or your chest needs 2 movements and you should only do 1 press. Not so much, man, and then try to change it up anyway. Some days I'll do a heavy pressing day for chest. Maybe incline dumbbell feels so good I do 6 sets. That's still a good workout, so I think we're just talking about jargon, but no more of it. Let's get back to the workout. We'll save the longer chat for the end. All right. No. Okay. Ooh, all right. One more, and then we'll do something heavier, maybe a dip. All right. So with a set like this, the hard part, and what I'd say the burning, uncomfortable part, is self-induced. So it's almost just a test of not how much weight you can lift, which would be, what I'm about to do with the heavy set. It's more so how hard can you squeeze and keep squeezing. All right. Okay. Holy shit. Let's grab the dip machine, assuming no one steals it. Okay, so I've got the stack, and this is not a light stack. So let's see what I can do here for a heavy one, and then move on to a lighter squeezing one next. if I can get a good song going. Ah, there we go. Yeah, no wonder my fucking liked tracks have felt so repetitive. I had it set to rap only. Okay. Alright, that was 305. Let's do 210 and run it back. Alright. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, one more like that. Two. All right. I know what the finish is going to be. Let's go overhead triceps, supersetted into regular push downs as the burnout, and I'll be fully pumped. So let's just think about where the best lighting spot will be and get ready to see how we're looking. All right. All right, let's go down to the posing room. There we go. All right. Yeah, it should be in solid focus. So that arm day, pretty substantial, but not so crazy insane. What really hit me harder than I expected was those freaking preachers to start. Normally, I'm starting with like the cable preachers that I'm used to in my gym, where it's not like it gets lighter at the bottom, but it's the same thing as a regular dumbbell curl, where the heaviest amount of weight or tension your biceps feels when you're at 90, and then less so gradually, because it's like a, trigonometry. You get what I'm saying. But let's see how arms are looking. So morning weight, unknown, because before I could actually get on the scale, I went down to the kitchen, ate some freaking breakfast, and drank a ton of freaking, not to say freaking so much, but drank a lot of water. And by that point, your morning weight is kind of bust, because it's no longer like, I don't want to say accurate, but you've got other stuff in your system. So it's like, you know, how much of that weight on the scale is you, and how much of that weight on the scale is just freaking food. So something to think about. Oh, man. Oh, man, what am I missing? Oh, yeah. Just a regular lat spread. Post-nasal drip, as I have come to discover from the comment section. Not good. So it's not that I'm sick, but I've got so much just freaking, what's the fancier word so you don't say snot? Phlegm? That doesn't sound right either. But either way, I've been so congested from all the pollen that it's giving me a sore throat, because I can't just like constantly blow my nose. Maybe I could, but you know, I don't want to carry around a freaking handkerchief. But that finishes arms. So now I'm gonna pop my butt back up there. 30 minutes on the bike, and we can get out of here and head home. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. 10, maybe 11 Clash Royale games, about half won, half lost. Currently floating around about 11,700-ish trophies. If I'm on a run, I'll get up to 900. If I'm getting smacked, sometimes I'll hit 11.5. But right up there, right up there. Pair that with Spotify Discover Weekly and 30 minutes of post-arm pump cardio. Abso-freaking-lutely complete. So, yeah, now all I gotta do is go home and get myself a freaking meal. So, I know exactly what that meal is going to be. It's going to be maybe even 10 ounces of ground beef. And I think I'm going old school. And by old school, I just mean a little meal that I had back when I was dieting. I think I'm going to do the crushed rice cake method. Because even though I'm gaining weight and I'm eating enough food to not only maintain but gradually gain size, I don't need to rush. I don't need to rush my appetite, or not my appetite, but my metabolism, you know, up. I don't want to be used to eating 5,000 calories a day, because then, you know, if that's the case, not mentally, but if I'm physically used to it, well, then I'm not going to grow if I eat 5,000 calories a day, right? It's going to become my new maintenance, because your body's going to gradually adapt to, you know, however much you're feeding it. So if, let's say, for whatever reason, starting today, going forward, I was only ever, let's just say full-on prison mode, or not prison mode, but prison scenario, 3 meals a day, 150 grams of protein, 50 grams of fat, 200 grams of carbs. So actually, 200 grams of protein, 50 grams of fat, 200 grams of carbs. So that's 1,600 calories worth of protein and carbs, plus 450. Yeah, so that'd be 2,050 calories per day. Right now, because I'm floating around 250, well, 2,050 calories a day is not gonna work. That's less food than I need, not even to like do my workouts. Excuse me. Not even to just do my workouts, but even just to stay alive. Having muscle on your frame, that muscle doing nothing burns more calories than someone who's a bit lighter. So my baseline maintenance calories probably more like a 3,000 something. So if I only get 2,000, I'm going to start losing weight. But eventually I'll reach a body weight where 2,050 calories is my baseline, right? And I'll maintain that. So in an off season, when I'm trying to eat more food and grow, I want to be eating more than is necessary just to stay the same weight. Like, I don't want to just stay 250. I want to get to 251. I want to get to 252. So I'm going to gradually increase my calories to facilitate that. Yeah, sorry for the yawn. But if I do it too quick, well, then you leave yourself nowhere to go. I'm not Brian Shaw. I can't eat 10,000 calories a day. I'm not 7 freaking feet tall. So I gotta ease my way up. But what I'm gonna do is have a meal that's very filling. So half pound of ground beef into a large kind of mixing bowl. Probably crush up 5 or 7, I'll see, rice cakes into that. Add barbecue sauce, stir, microwave for a minute. So now it's like, just a steak and rice bowl, but instead of just being regular boiled or steamed rice, which is the densest form you can kind of get your hands on, well, it's a rice cake, a little bit puffier. So really nothing changes calorie-wise, but the feeling of 40 or 50 grams of carbs from rice cakes versus the feeling of 50 grams of carbs of just straight up rice, you're going to feel a lot more full from those rice cakes. So that's how I'm going about it for now. And as I try to eat more food, I'm going to substitute this rice cake and beef meal with just standard beef and rice, so that it's not so filling and I can be ready to eat my next meal, in however long it takes to get ready to do that. So I'm riding the line of being in a surplus, but not an unnecessary surplus. And now, or not and now, but and then going forward, the next few weeks, months, probably not more than, I don't know, we're what, almost 3 weeks in, a little more than 3 weeks into this bulk, and we're already up, I don't even know how many pounds. I think I said my starting weight was, I don't remember, but either way, only a month in, after who knows how many months, 3, 4, probably not more than 5 of this gaining phase. I'll just see how heavy I can get my regular morning fasted body weight up to. And not only just how heavy, but how heavy and how lean. So that's my balancing act. Getting bigger, but not getting softer than necessary. You're always going to put some body fat on in a bulk, especially if you're going back and forth between cutting or just even a full-on prep to an off-season. Then it's a guarantee. You're not going to float around 7% body fat if you're eating in a surplus. But you don't have to get up to 20% body fat either. So it's there's a middle ground. There's a middle ground where you're bulking, but you're bulking responsibly. Assuming you have a diet plan later to reveal the gains from that bulk. But I think nothing else to say. I'm going to go down, edit this thing together, and then pump out a little TikTok edit as well. I got to start spamming TikTok again. I've been totally slacking for years. I'll post like once every 4 months onto TikTok, and every time I caption it, more TikToks coming. Daily posts are returning, and it just never happens. So I'll see if I can stick to it this time. But nothing else to say. I will see you tomorrow.